Hey, what is going on to the Shiba Inu Army? In today's video, we're going to be discussing a little bit of a more serious topic just because this does relate to margin and how exactly does margin affect the price of Shiba Inu Coin. So if you haven't already, make sure you guys share this video with your fellow Shiba Inu holders so we all understand what exactly is going on and why has Shiba Inu been dropping so much. Let's start off with these statistics given to us by FINRA, and remember that these figures are shown in the millions. So we go over here, January of 2020, and then we also have more increments from the 2020 year, more months. So let's start off with January. We have going to 561. Now we go February of 545, and then it does decrease in March of 2020. We go all the way to 479. We could just round that to 480. Then take a look at this. April, it starts to pick up, and we go to 524. Then May, we also hovering around that same area, 552. Then June, 584. And then we're going to skip a few because in October, we have almost 670. And then November, we have 722. So now we're going to a new bracket. And then December of 2020, we have around 780 right over here, 778 to be exact, around that number. Then let's go over here. Now let's compare this. Let's compare these statistics to the year of 2021. Now, January of 2021, the margin provided to us by FINRA was around 798. This was not a huge jump from the 778 number because now we're just at 798, but then it starts to pick up very quickly because February of 2021, we go just a little bit more up, 813, but this will start speeding up very momentarily because take a look at this. March of 2021, we had a drastic change in the trend going from February to March. There was actually an increase, whereas if you see over here from February to March, there was actually a decrease. And then continuing on, we also go to April, and then the trend does increase. 2021 was definitely a trend year because we decided to increase, and it was increasing in a much higher level because April of 2021, we were at around 847. Then let's go all the way to September, going from 847 to 903. Then from September to October, we're at 935. The trend just does not stop. I do not believe that there is any sort of month that decides to decrease from the previous month, whereas over here, we did have some of those months. And also, the increase wasn't as much. Regardless, what does this all mean and why is this so important for Shiba Inu holders if you hold, regardless of how many coins you hold, whether it be 1 million tokens, 100 million tokens, it doesn't matter. Let me just tell you this. A few days ago, there was a lot of margin calls going on, right? Because people have all this and they are using margin. Remember, this is not the amount of cash that they have. This is how much they are using for margin, right? And so when they decide to use this margin, what's going to end up happening, I believe that if you guys are invested in Shiba Inu Coin, some of you guys may know about the equities market, right? And so for the equities market, a lot of people, that's where you can start enabling margin. And a lot of people had margin calls. So if a lot of people have margin calls, what are they going to start to do? That means that they have to find a way to pay back the margin or decide to liquidate some of their positions so that again, they can start paying back the margin. And so where do they go to first? They're going to start liquidating from Shiba Inu Coin so that they could pay back the amount for their equities. Now, what equities am I talking about? Let's go ahead, and for those of you guys that don't really understand what I'm saying, let's go and start to look at the S&P 500. And what do I mean by that? So S&P 500, we used to have a high of around $470. Remember everyone that this is one of the volatility indices. This is not part of the cryptocurrency exchange. So for the S&P 500, we went to a high of $470. And here's when the margin came. A lot of people had margin calls. There were a lot of liquidations. And here's when a lot of people took their money from Shiba Inu Coin and they decided to pay back their margin. It was right over here, going from 470 all the way to 450 in a matter of a few days. And this affected equities like, let's say, Tesla, for example. I'm sure that if you guys are invested in Shiba, you guys may know what Tesla is, right? The same trend occurs, except Tesla went drastically down, but it still does parallel because we have that same downside. So this is a downside that I want to let a lot of you guys know about. And this was when the margin calls start to appear. And when we have all those margin calls appearing, what do people decide to do? They start selling from Shiba Inu Coin. They need to find a way to pay back their margin. And so if we go to the 1-day chart for Shiba Inu Coin, we can really start to see this a little bit better because it just continuously decides to decrease. We even have it at around the same time frame, right? We decide to go up similar to the S&P 500 going to 470, then we decide to decrease right over here. So all these parallels, all these correlations, what will it do for us now and how can we expect Shiba Inu Coin to go up? Remember what I said, no matter how many coins you decide to have, here's what I'm really looking for in Shiba Inu Coin. And this is all not entirely negative at all, right? Because for me, and remember, I'm not a financial advisor, but I will decide to buy on this weakness just because I view it as an opportunity. Now, let me know in the comment section below, do you guys view this as an opportunity or do you guys think that the dip will keep on dipping? So here's what I'm looking at, right? So Shiba Inu Coin on the 1-hour time frame, we go over here, we can start drawing some wedges to see when Shiba Inu Coin can have a breakout if possible, right? And so with this wedge over here, we can see that we are close but not close enough. There still needs to be more time as well as more volume because the volume is drawing up just a little bit And then also we have this double bottom going right here on the chart. We have one, and then we are appearing again at the same level, and it could actually drop a little bit lower to reach this bottom right over here. And so that would actually make a little bit of sense, because if we see over here, this decided to go to a major resistance level. So if you guys don't understand what I'm saying, this used to be a resistance level right over here, and now it is acting as a support level right over here. And so you guys see that we are very close to end up breaking this wedge. And when we end up breaking this wedge, what that allows us to do is similar to what happened right over here. You guys see this wedge over here? Same type of pattern, except this one was 10 times better than the one that we have right now, because it was very close. So we end up going to this wedge once, then twice, but it did not end up breaking, then 3 times, but it did not end up breaking, and then it did not end up breaking again, and then the 5th time it did end up breaking out. And a lot of day traders took advantage of this because they decided to buy not over here. They did not decide to buy at these levels, at the lower levels, but they decide to buy for quick scalps. And so what that means is, as soon as this wedge decides to break, they decide to buy on this strength, not weakness. And look where the price ended up going to. It ended up going to the ultimate wedge all the way at the top, not over here, which is going to be on the near term time frame, but actually for the overall time frame, which is going to be this entire line right over here. So if we really want to see a huge breakout for Shiba Inu Coin, regardless of how many coins you have, this is the pattern that I'm going to be looking at, and to see, is Shiba Inu Coin going to break this support line right over here, or will we decide to break this wedge and this new resistance level indicated by this downward slope right over here. And if you guys are worried about Shiba Inu Coin or the cryptocurrency market in general, here's what Mr. Kevin O'Leary decided to say about cryptocurrency and how he is actually a buyer of Coinbase, which is one of the cryptocurrency exchanges, because he is quite bullish on cryptocurrency in general, specifically Bitcoin. And I believe if there's strength in the crypto market, right, let's take a look at Bitcoin. I believe this will help Shiba Inu Coin inevitably, because if crypto is strong, then I believe that Shiba Inu and the other cryptos will follow as well.
The chart is Coinbase, down over 23% in 1 month. But Kevin O'Leary, you are not deterred. Even with some weakness in the crypto space, you are buying more Coinbase. How come?
You got to remember the story of the stock. And one of the reasons it really had a downturn, it got into let's call it a tussle with the regulator regarding a product called loan, or actually lend it was called. And the idea was that they would stake stablecoin and make 6, 8, 9% interest. Now, this idea of staking stablecoin is being permitted in other jurisdictions, in Switzerland, in Canada, in Australia, in parts of the United Arab Emirates is being considered. And so regulators are changing their minds about this. Most of it is around USDC, the Circle product, which started just, I don't know, a year ago with $2 billion under assets, and now it's $30 billion, including institutional holdings. So the play on Coinbase is crypto infrastructure. They're going to go to other jurisdictions where they're allowed to allow staking, because they're a global platform. And so they're getting very savvy at it. They're going to different geographies and putting out the lend product there. And I think that's the beginning of the tonal change that's going to occur in our own country. You saw that Jeremy Allaire just in the last few days is in front of Congress. He's willing to turn his whole circle into a bank and be federally regulated just to get USDC as a product for institutions. I like the direction of this. And so for me, I'm looking for infrastructure. And Coinbase is one of those global platforms, millions of accounts. And as soon as these products get turned on, you have to prove your geography. You have to have an IP address that's allowed in. But it's no different than FTX or Binance. They're doing the same thing. So if you're into crypto, and I know we're debating whether you should be in crypto or not, it's a binary decision. Either you like it or you don't. I'm in the like it camp. And so I'm looking for ways to diversify my portfolio. Coinbase is one way to do that.
Okay. Hey, Rob, very quickly, your thoughts on crypto. Tom Lee and Fundstrat putting out a note. I apologize. I'm looking down to read it. Basically, a European central bank official on the tape saying that it's negative for society. It impacts mining and the environment. Criminals use it, and there's lack of investor protection. So at least one ECB official coming out and kind of throwing some cold water on crypto. Maybe it won't matter at all. What do you think?
So I think you got to bet on the ecosystem, the crypto ecosystem. Listen, every now and then something comes along to knock us into a different atmosphere. It's disruptive. The internet in the late 90s, right now we think that that's blockchain, that's crypto, and most people are betting on the blue chips. We are too. Anybody can tolerate a 5% volatility in their portfolio. So if you put 5% in and it ends up not working out, you're going to be fine. But it is attracting some of the brightest minds in finance. When you look at the ex-president at Morgan Stanley, Zoe Cruz, launched a platform called Manai, which is a use case investment strategy in crypto. Listen, this is game changing. And I think it's going to disrupt the financial system. Naturally, there's going to be naysayers. So we are investing in crypto.